Story 1. Painful memories from poor choices never go away. They just accumulate. Story 2. How quickly time goes. 4 years at university seemed like forever, but the time since the start of the coronavirus disease 2019 pandemic has felt like 6 months. Story 3. Realizing how astonishingly foolish so many people are is startling. It's staggering how many people get far in life yet remain uninformed. Story 4. The people around me are, for some reason, different from how they were 10 years ago. Story 5. You will start to notice random hairs growing if you are male. Story 6. My patience, hearing, eyesight, and tolerance for stupidity are wearing thin. I want to smack half the people at my job for how brainless and idiotic they are. I'm allowed to use one earbud to listen to music, but I can't completely block people out, which aggravates me. Story 7. My willingness to deal with nonsense has reached the point where I simply walk away when someone tries to deceive me. Story 8. I constantly feel like I am running out of time. Days turn into weeks, then months, and before you know it, the past decade is gone. Story 9. My patience for the young is limited. Not because I was any better than they were at that age. If anything, I was worse. Because I can see the direct consequences of their actions more clearly than they can. It makes me want to smack them upside their snickering heads. You kids just have no idea what is coming. It is a permanent cycle of frustration. The young do not listen to the old and then grow up to become the old people the next generation will not listen to. Story 10. Loneliness. Everyone you know seems to disappear year after year. They die, move away, or lose contact for various reasons. Everything around you changes, and you begin to feel like a stranger. Music, television, the way people talk, slang, and fashions all feel unfamiliar after 45. Memories begin to fade, and you struggle to remember parts of your life, not in a dementia way, but because everything feels so distant after so long. Losing anyone becomes much more painful because it is another nail in the coffin of loneliness. I have just lost my dog of almost 18 years, and it is heartbreaking, but no one knows because they have all gone. Story 11. Hair and skin are the two main factors that make you look older. Story 12. Social life has become more difficult. Getting together with friends is harder because everyone has their own commitments such as work, family, and children. Story 13. Disappointment in relationships, friendships, romance, and dating. When you are young, you can bounce back. After many disappointments over the years, you feel discouraged. No matter how hard you try, it is difficult not to carry that with you and let it affect other relationships subconsciously. Story 14. The ability to stop myself from telling people to go home and put some clothes on after seeing yet another massive camel toe in lycra leisure wear or pitted butt cheeks in flesh-colored lycra. The ability to stop myself from reaching over and ripping off $200 worth of lash extensions from a 16-year-old behind a counter, who can't even be bothered to pay board at home. The ability to stop myself from picking up the 2-year-old wandering the supermarket aisles and hiding them while the mother looks at her phone instead of the child. The ability to walk around the supermarket without making a bweert fart sound with each step and wondering whether it is loud enough for someone else to hear, because I am almost deaf in one ear. The amazement at how stupid most people are. What's more amazing is that many of them run businesses and procreate with glee at having managed to grow another human. It's not hard, people. The realization that nobody cares about anyone else. Not even doctors, dentists, or chemists anymore. Nobody understands the meaning of the word care and the actions and attitude needed to show it. The lack of kindness. Some people don't even trust a smile when you smile at them. Story 15. I booked appointments. Nobody is impressed. I did it all by myself. Story 16. My feet hurt. I work my legs every day but still wake up sore. Invest in gel insoles. They are a lifesaver. Story 17. Loss. I am realizing that people are often really awful to one another, and that is just the way it is. Health problems arise as our bodies become weaker. Story 18. Other people's nonsense. It just gets dumber and more out of touch, filled with one lie after another. Also, back pain. Story 19. Dating. I've decided it's more appealing to stay single at this stage. Story 20. The bounce back. Whether it is emotional or physical, it takes longer to recover and it hurts more. Hangovers, cramps, dark days, and heartbreaks all hit harder and take more time to get over. It is difficult. The best thing you can do is stay positive and active. Story 21. I had a sense of wonder, hope, and magic. I used to daydream, be expressive, and feel joy more often. I had a mischievous side and energy, even when I was very broke, working retail and occasionally eating out of trash cans. When I went to university, a decade after graduating from high school, I found that I needed to adopt a more somber, professional persona to be taken seriously by professors and potential employers. I needed to act like a reliable, predictable work robot. So I purposely acted as if I conformed to that. This carried on into my job, where most people are Midwest Christian conservatives who implicitly approve of very specific norms. Over the years, that mask of stoic professionalism glued itself to my face, and I actually became the steady, bland, dreamless work robot I was pretending to be. My sense of magic was destroyed. My spontaneous joy and rowdy, untamed sense of fun were replaced by measured flatness and seriousness. With some therapy, journaling, and intentionally turning back toward less bland adult things like art, anime, fantasy books, and video games, I have managed to occasionally feel sparks of that old self. It is tough to overcome that practice flatness when it is so deeply integrated, but it is coming along, bit by bit. Story 22. I am paranoid about small aches and pains. I do not have more aches and pains than I did when I was younger, but I pay more attention to them. A small ache or pain that I would have ignored when I was younger turns into the thought, I wonder whether this is going to kill me. Story 23. Things you want to be small grow big, and things you want to be big grow small. You start growing hair where you do not want it, and where you do want hair, you go bald. Bonus. If you are a man, you get to have your testicles dumped in the toilet. I swear that is what killed Elvis. Story 24. Your hands, fingers, knees, and toes. Story 25. I have experienced many aches and pains since I retired. Most recently, I have noticed a crunching sensation in my neck that appears to be related to soreness in my trapezius muscle. Story 26. Being aware of a situation but having to let it pass. In my teens, it was always hindsight that got me. Now, nearly 30, it is foresight. Knowing exactly what is going on but having to steer the focus elsewhere and let things fade. Story 27. The value of $1 and the number of fucks I have left to give. Story 28. The human body becomes weaker over time. Injuries that used to heal quickly now linger much longer. Story 29. How many awful people there really are, and how often they get away with bad behavior or are even enabled. Story 30. Apathy. I no longer seek my own destruction as much as I used to, but I do not care whether I live or die. Story 31. As you grow older, your patience for nonsense, insincere people, and unnecessary drama shrinks almost to nothing. You value your time more, and the things you once tolerated, whether toxic relationships, pointless small talk, or chasing approval, become unbearable. You also realize that energy is not infinite. Your body needs more care, your mind becomes sharper and more selective, and you stop entertaining anything that does not add value to your life. Growing older is about cutting through what does not matter and focusing on what does. Story 32. The older you get, the more things you have to do and the less time you have to do them. My father told me this years ago. I am 49 and I think he was right. More people depend on you as you get older: work, family, friends. Story 33. My patience. I cannot think of anything that has gotten worse faster. If something starts annoying me, especially noise, I have to leave. I can't tolerate it the way I used to. It used to be fun, but now it's get me out of here. My knees. Nobody told me my knees would start aching in my mid-20s. Now I have to sleep with a pillow between my knees. Kids, don't do those dances that make you drop it low. Just trust me, I'm a millennial, we did it too much and now I can't get back up. I crack like a glow stick. Not just when stretching anymore. Now it's when I go from sitting to standing or crouching. It's ridiculous. My tolerance for junk food is gone. I can't eat the garbage I used to or my stomach will ache fiercely. I wanted a bowl of honeycomb cereal like I had in childhood. I ate it and my stomach was raging. Flexibility. Use it or you will lose it. I started noticing this in my early 20s. Don't let it go. Now my flexibility is as bad as a 40-something who doesn't work out, and I'm embarrassed. I think daily about how much more I could accomplish if that were not the case. Story 34. People, you start to realize just how messed up everyone else is. Story 35. Other than the obvious signs of growing older, nothing really. I have been enjoying my life a lot. Story 36. The ugliness of looking in the mirror can hurt your eyes. Gray hair, faded eyebrows, soft lines that suggest a future you with sagging features. The list goes on, and it happens quickly. Who are you now? Story 37. Scrotal droop. Excess eyebrow hair. I am starting to look like Master Pai Mei. Nasal hair. Story 38. I am 33 years old. My weak ankles and lower back sciatica hurt just reading this title. Story 39. Apparently my hair does not know where to grow. It is not growing on top of my head. Instead, it is growing in my eyebrows, ears, and nose. Story 40. My experience is movement. At 48, I was told I needed a total hip replacement, but I was too young then. They prefer patients to be 65 or older. Now at 53, I can barely walk and need a rollator. My life feels over. I lost my job, and I think I have outlived the specialist who saw me. So yes, the body breaks down. Story 41. That bittersweet moment when you overcome every obstacle in life, but at a cost. Story 42. Men do not even check you out anymore. The strangest thing is that they simply look right past you, as if you are not there. No one lets you cut in line or holds the door open. Some do, but now it is because they are respecting their elders, not because they want to get in your pants. Felt like I was thriving until 40, and now I feel like I am falling apart and slowly dying a little more every day, just riding it out until the end. Also, the random facial whiskers and the fact that when you feel the urge to urinate you have about 5 seconds to reach the bathroom. There is no holding it anymore. Story 43. Bones and the realization that at some point you will lose your parents, siblings, and favorite cousins one by one. You could be the unluckiest and die last. When you grow old, no one around you, including your children and later your grandchildren, feels connected to you. It is not their fault. They did not spend much of their lives with you. You simply witness life fading away each day. People who have this realization are able to accept the end. Story 44. Recovery from physical or mental strain often worsens with age. Whether it is bouncing back from a late night, an intense workout, or emotional stress, the resilience of youth tends to decline. Your body and mind take longer to heal, and you become more aware of your limits. With experience, many people learn to manage these challenges through healthier habits and consistent self-care. Story 45. Everyone around me is growing older and becoming aware of their mortality. I lost my dad 2 years ago at age 62, and I can't help but notice how everyone I love ages with each passing year. It feels like a never-ending cycle of loss. Story 46. There is a values disconnect between you and the society in which you live. We all grow up in a certain time and become familiar with its norms and values. As we age, society changes, and eventually we all become chronological foreigners in our own societies. For example, my grandfather was born in 1904, which is closer in time to George Washington's presidency than to the protests following George Floyd's death. The belief that interracial marriage between white people and black people was deviant and unacceptable was common in the United States for much of the 20th century. There was no idea that this attitude was racist because the word had not yet been coined or was not in popular use. By the time he died in 1998, this attitude had changed radically, and he had not. For those who wonder why he did not change his attitude, the answer is that people do not usually change that way. Before judging my grandfather or anyone significantly older than you, try living 90 years and see what happens. Story 47. People you know, including celebrities, are dead. What used to be cool now feels old. Prices for everything are astronomical. You have pain everywhere and you become exhausted much faster. The only real advantages are that I have many great memories and I am much wiser than before. I have also stopped caring about almost everything, so my stress level is not nearly as bad. That is probably the best part. I just do not care anymore, especially about the idiots who, unfortunately, never go away. Story 48. Joint pain. Fudge. Believe everything older adults tell you. Story 49. My back is starting to hurt. I'm only 33. Story 50. The children. I thought we were bad. But now I look at Generation Alpha and I realize we are cooked. Story 51. Pain. I'm not yet 30, and I wake up with random aches. I injured myself by throwing my neck back too rapidly while drinking a seltzer last month. Story 52. Tolerance for nonsense, hypocrites, and so on. My tolerance level has increased exponentially as I get older. Story 53. Everything, body, mind, and prospects all start breaking down. Either you have it figured out or it all starts falling apart. Story 54. Skin tags, barnacles on your skin that are extremely ugly, and varicose veins. Then there are the aches and pains, and you are only 50. Story 55. My joints ache every morning. I wake up feeling sore all over, but after a few hours I start to feel more like myself. Story 56. Every goddamn thing. Eyes, skin, memory, patience, energy, strength, sinuses, my drive. It all seems to slip away. I'm just tired and in pain most of the time now. On the plus side, drugs. Pain pills and cannabidiol gummies keep me moving. Story 57. You become sad, and the sadness deepens. Story 58. Every day it becomes increasingly difficult to accept that I must endure a few more decades on this godforsaken planet. Story 59. The ability to urinate forcefully. What the heck is that all about? I think a baby could urinate more forcefully than I can. Story 60. Self-confidence. I am nearly 50. Other than the physical health I had 30 years ago, I wish I still had the absolute, resolute, ironclad self-confidence I had back then. I have much more to offer now than I did then in every way you can imagine, but I wish I had the self-confidence to do something with it. Story 61. My back hurts. I would trade my height to have less back pain. My knees are still fine, amazingly. Story 62. Everything related to my body. Aches, pains, more medications, surgeries, myopia, are ATM. Story 63. It feels like time is going faster. As a child, 1 year can feel like 50 or even 100% of your lifespan. As an adult, 1 year feels like 2 or 3%. Story 64. Starting anew. At first there is excitement about new things. Over time it becomes a weary, here we go again, weighed by how many attempts have failed. Mistakes or even unusual choices in life begin to count for more. It is fun to start a new job in your 20s, but it becomes harder to find one if your job history is inconsistent. My favorite is how choices from the past influence current opportunities. For example, a casual job screening might require a certain grade point average for your Bachelor of Arts from 10 years ago. No one considers your Master of Arts grade point average, which may be much better, or a hiring process may reject you because your supervising professor disliked you, or because you lack the minimum Bachelor of Arts credits even though you completed a Master of Arts in the field. The employment system still treats it as a mismatch. Do not get me started on retirement funds, which can be low because you worked in different countries, on skills you once had but have neglected, or on how hard some tasks become because you are older, tired, and weary. Story 65. My eyebrows. Seriously, one day they just started growing much faster. I never had to shave them, but now I have to check them every morning. Why the fuck can't the top of my head do this instead? It's whack. Story 66. I had to say goodbye too many times. Too often those were my last words. Now I simply say I love you. Friends and family all hear I love you. Story 67. My body hurts all the time. Injuries take longer to heal, and the wear and tear takes a toll. I'm only in my late 20s. It's probably going to be much worse in the future. Story 68. Vision loss and hearing loss can be debilitating. I have seen them, and your energy may be extremely low. Story 69. Fucking back pain. I'm only 18. It'll be a miracle if I don't get worse by the time I'm 40. Story 70. Pain tolerance has diminished. What used to be 4 out of 10 is now consistently 8 out of 10 and lasts longer. Story 71. Back pain. Sitting and standing up have already become a nuisance in my early 30s. By the time I am in my 40s or 50s, I will need a crutch just to get up. Story 72. Dealing with ageism. Each year it gets worse. I am slowly becoming invisible or being dismissed as a boomer. Story 73. I'm 26 years old. I left my new hoodie somewhere a few weeks ago. Someone reminded me that I had it, but I cannot remember buying a hoodie recently. Story 74. Body hair. Body hair grows faster and appears in more places. Enjoy smooth skin with slow-growing hair while you have it. Story 75. The Tories. I was born the year Margaret Thatcher was elected. It has been a slippery slope since 1979. Story 76. My avoidant and restrictive food intake disorder is my chronic illness. Doctors have not been able to diagnose me yet. Story 77. Feeling like there is never enough time. Story 78. Confidence, security, innocence, responsibility, and loved ones. Story 79. That absent-mindedness is so real. If you are or think you have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder while you are young, sort out effective coping strategies now. Even if you start with a normal attention and memory span, it can all fall apart. Story 80. You get old, may lose your hair if you're male, and may lose your sex drive after age 50. I haven't. I have wrinkles and some hearing loss. Thank God I'm not in that category. I'm just my age. I'm 63 years young. Story 81. 20 years ago an ache was exactly that. Now it is debilitating pain. Story 82. Annoyed by dumb people. Believe me, this country is full of them. Story 83. Social norms and schools always get worse. Story 84. My temper is getting worse. Hopefully this trend stops when I turn 40. I want to be a relaxed woman at 40. Story 85. The universe takes away more than it gives. I have to get up to use the bathroom several times during the night. Story 86. Teeth and eyes. Some good and bad moments share the same day. You will remember both. Story 87. Your patience, vision, hearing, joint pain, quality of sleep, ear hair, nose hair, and bathroom experiences. Story 88. I am not old at all, but snow and ice keep getting me. I have slipped on it for 3 years in a row. It is out to get me. Story 89. As you grow older, you will experience more loss. Loved ones and pets die and health may decline. You have to learn to let go and accept reality. Stay present, look for the good, and contribute to it. Make the best of your time on the planet. Story 90. My tendency to see the glass as half empty has diminished as I have aged. I cannot think of a way to flip your worst question. Laughing out loud. I have had many difficult experiences, but my shift in perception and coping makes everything easier now. Story 91. For me, it is the feeling of being sort of left behind in the past. I am 36 years old, probably not even halfway through my life. I have plenty of time and so much to do. In many ways, my life has not even completely begun. I am still learning new things all the time and still exploring options. And yet I always feel kind of lost, as if I am from an entirely different era. Most of the things I love are no longer fashionable or have been mostly forgotten. People I admired as a child or teenager, including celebrities and politicians, are starting to die. Worse, we are discovering how problematic some of those people were in retrospect. Technology develops faster than I can keep up. My friends have had to move away, so we only see each other when we are all in town. Social rules have changed completely and I do not feel up to date. Worst of all, friends, family, loved ones, and old pets are slowly starting to die. This solidifies the fact that I am no longer the kid of the family. Now I am the adult and my adults are the old people. I am starting to understand why older people have so much trouble keeping up with social and technological changes. I am not even old and I am already struggling with it. Story 92. Living in an environment where others increasingly devalue aging. Story 93. Guilt. If you feel guilty about anything, it's best to get it off your chest before it snowballs over the years. Story 94. Mine is a bit sillier. Ketchup. I stopped liking it a while ago, and now whenever I eat fries or have ketchup on a burger, I cannot handle the taste. I can eat tomatoes just fine, but once it becomes ketchup, I cannot stand it. It is odd for my taste buds. Story 95. As a child, you either did not fully wake up, overslept, or woke up fine. Today, when you wake up, if you slept in the wrong position, you may feel excruciating pain and be halfway paralyzed. If you were lucky, you wake up as if you had just emerged from a months-long coma. Story 96. The feeling of nostalgia, fueled by regret, in a world that was so much better. Story 97. Pain. Everything hurts more and takes longer to heal. Hangovers are not a minor inconvenience. After a night of dancing, going to work the next day is impossible. Forming new friendships or romantic relationships is much harder. We remember past wrongdoings, so we trust less. Story 98. Loss. Family, friends, pets, youth, energy, flexibility, speed, balance, strength. You can delay some of them for a while, but the losses pile up slowly and surely. The worst, in my opinion, is loss of family. At some point you realize you are the oldest generation. You have less time ahead of you than behind you. It is humbling, surprising, and a little frightening, but it can also be inspiring if you have the right attitude. Story 99. Stress and lower back pain. Stress can be reduced and, in some cases, eliminated. Back pain and other body pain are often the result of wear and tear. You should address these issues as soon as you become aware of them and focus on prevention. If you do not, the pain may worsen or become difficult to treat. Story 100. I am 19 and played soccer throughout my childhood. I can already feel it in my knees. The older I get, the more joints I can pop. It is like downloadable content for a video game. Story 101. Sadness. There is little to look forward to. There is no bright side anymore. Story 102. Human interactions. The older I get, the more people my age seem insufferable. Story 103. I can name many, but people here already covered most of them. One thing is seeing how stupid kids have become. It is so bad you can see it in their driving, and I swear I have seen far more accidents since coronavirus disease 2019. Story 105. My knees, my bak, my ijzigheid, my houding, my sleep. Just about everything. Story 105. I swear, as soon as I turned 25, my bones and joints disappeared. Story 106. My eyesight worsens. Every time I go to the optometrist, my prescription increases significantly. Story 107. Stress does not go away, it just changes form like energy. Story 108. For most people, childhood is the best time of their lives. Story 109. Skin and joint pain. I am 27, but I now have 2 fine lines on my forehead that will not go away. Previously, I noticed them when I raised my eyebrows. My knees are also hurting a bit. Story 110. 1. The ability to learn new things. I can still learn, but it is harder and slower than when I was younger. 2. Routine. I did not realize that the more stable you are, the more likely you are to have the same routine for a long time. The daily routine of my grandmother is the same as 30 years ago. Maybe she finally got used to it, because I only recently noticed it felt hard and boring, and there was a time I experienced mild depression because of it. Please do not judge me. 3. Loneliness. I still do not fully understand why I feel lonely sometimes, so I cannot elaborate. Story 111. As I've gotten older, I've come to know myself better, my values, morals, and ethics. At the same time, my view of the people around me has largely plummeted. Story 112. By age 30, your body changes. Your bones crack when you stand up, and walking long distances hurts. I used to be good at running, but now it hurts and the pain keeps getting worse. Story 113. Everything, bills, prices of things, and people. The list is long. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.